All right, good evening, everyone, and welcome to Green White Checker TV, where we are on race number 4 of the Thursday Superspeedway Xfinity Series here tonight at Talladega Superspeedway. Drivers are now putting down their qualifying laps for tonight's event. Last week's winner at Atlanta was Austin Call. And saying it's a great car count here tonight. Definitely, I believe, in the mid-20s. So big thank you to all the drivers coming out for tonight. Right now, on the point side of things, after these races, it's Gabe Butler with a 4-point lead over Rick Sanchez. However, not seeing Rick in the server at the moment, so that lead could grow, and it's a pretty sizable lead. He's got 14 points over third place Nick Wing. So it could be an opportunity for Gabe to just kind of stretch the points lead a little bit, maybe just build a little extra margin before we get to the playoffs. And again, this is going to be a reduced schedule this season. Only 10 races opposed to the normal 12. And of course, as I mentioned before, that is due to a couple holidays coming up, including next week. We will not be broadcasting as it will be Halloween. And hopefully you all be out there with trick-or-treaters, either handing out candy or taking your little ones and going out with them. So, definitely hope everybody has a happy and safe Halloween next week. And of course, also will be the Thursday of Thanksgiving. Also, of course, be off on that one as well. But yes, right now qualifying going on as we speak. So you can see the sponsor over on that bottom right. We have Golf Pub Social giving them a little bit of attention. It's one of their, again, some of the drivers putting some donations in, wanting to bring attention to certain companies and things that they support or that they even run. And saying Gabe Butler, he has definitely been, I've seen a lot of his posts on the internet about Golf Pub Social, and we'll pull up that Golf Pub Social. Number 88 Chevrolet Camaro as we speak. Really good looking paint scheme, and so I'll give him a little bit of love while he's on track. And yeah, hindsight, I should have made that golf club pink on my end too, but maybe we'll get it fixed for a future one. But definitely want to thank Gabe again for the donation, and definitely always love to see these guys have some fun outside the sim race, and it seems like that's been a really, really fun place for him. So big shout out to those guys out in Florida. So right now qualifying continues to go here. And yeah, I'd say other than that, I'd say the same rules as always. There will be the 1 fast pair, 3 green-white checkered attempts. And of course, no passing below the yellow line. I was hearing fuel windows. Sounds like it'll be in the 3 stops range, depending especially how aggressive you are. Might even have a chance touching the 4th stop. I'm not 100% certain. We'll have to wait and see how far these guys can go on fuel before we get a good answer on that one. But basically, if we go green, magic number is going to be, if they can go 19 laps per tank, they can make it on 3 stops. So that's going to be the number they're going to be aiming for here this evening. And again, see a few drivers popping on here the last minute, so definitely love to see the numbers. It's going to be great. A lot of fun racing here tonight. They say we've got such a good group of guys. A few new faces, a few returning faces, some that kind of are able to make it when they can. And it's a lot of fun to kind of get all those guys together and have a blast in this thing. Well, keep an eye on my side. I have a feeling my partner in crime is going to be popping in here at some point shortly. But while we wait for that, we're going to pull up our starting grid for tonight's event. And it is going to be none other than Dean Wilkinson on pole position here tonight. You see there beating Kevin Freeze by 0.06 of a second. There's Dean just popped onto the grid in that number 55 Cheerwine machine. Kevin Freeze will be outside of row number 1. Then you got Tom Dixon and Robert Hooligan there, row number 2. Eric Lurie, Ed DeBoer, Bud Steele, Austin Call, Jack Walls, Carl Lingle are top 10. And then 11th, you've got Mike Rimkus continuing on, Jeremy Osborne. 13th, Andrew Schroeder, Anthony English, Gabe Butler. And so you see a lot of drivers opting not to qualify. Looks like the top 13 put a lap down, but 14th on back. These guys said, nope, we want to start a little further back here. So that's going to include Anthony English, Gabe Butler. Then you got Seth Groover, Patrick Groover right together, Nathan Aldrich, Dustin Logston, Mark Mann, Jim Brooks, Jimmy Reynolds, Bob Fitzgerald, and Adam Kilday. but we still got a little further to go here. You've got also Brian Wang and Rick Seabrand, so those are going to be our 26 starters for tonight. Still have a few drivers left to continue to grid. But again, you can see the ticker up on the top side for those drivers who are going to be in the field here tonight. As you see, Robert Hooligan just pop in. There's Kevin Freese popping in as well. It looks like 4 drivers left to go, and then we will start the pace lap here in just one moment. All right, we got all 26 drivers gridded. They're going to start their warm-up lap here. And again, front row going to be Dean Wilkinson, Kevin Freese, and then Tom Dixon, Robert Hooligan right next to them. So great starts by these guys. I'd say, again, practicing qualifying, it's definitely a fine art. I, by no means, have it all mastered it. So, but yeah, it's a lot of fun, though, watching these guys. And you see there's the Groover brothers, seeing the McDonald's and the Monster Energy. They got the M's on there. The easiest way for me to kind of differentiate those two. And then you got Brian Wing and Rick Seabrands rolling out the rest of the way. So I was just spying on a couple drivers. I see a couple right off the bat. Look at Bud Steele. Look at Jack Walls there on the inside. They're running the apron, just saving in. Every drop of fuel matters. They want to make sure they can get to that number. So, like I said, that's going to be the question mark, I think. Again, if they can go the 19 laps, that means they will be good to make it on a 3-stopper. So that's going to be, I think, again, that's going to be the window to look for. I know the admins on the back end, they've been making adjustments, trying to get the numbers right on. That way there's no drama on fuel windows. That way, if we go start to finish caution free, everything is spot on, and just basically these guys can race it out. They don't have to worry about backing down the pace, doing any fuel saving, things of that nature. So same thing. Really appreciate all the admins and all the time and effort they put on the back end to try to basically give the best show that they can for you all, and of course for the drivers themselves as well. All right, see the pace car pulling over to the left side here. It's going to cut down onto pit road. That's going to hand it over to our front row. Dean Wilkinson, the 55. Tom Dixon right behind him. Kevin Freese is outside with Robert Hooligan right behind him there in 4th. And we will get things underway again. Scheduled distance is 75 laps here tonight at Talladega, as green flag is out and we are underway here. And right now, locked on, it looks like, are the two on the outside. A little separation on the inside line. But of course, they'll have that shorter distance heading into turn number 1. I'll see a couple blind squirrels. They're locked on together there. That is Carl Engel in the 30 with Jeremy Osborne right behind him. I'll say those two, we've seen some really good runs out of them recently. So it's definitely looking to see them try to work their magic a little bit further on. One driver opting to go, actually 2 drivers I should say, opted to drop back here early on. Going to be that 44 you see right now of Anthony English, as well as that number 81 of Dustin Logson. They said, we're just going to cruise right now. It's early. They don't want to do anything too much too soon. So it looks like lap number 1, though, will at the line. Oh, it's tight. I think Kevin Freese is going to grab that first lap as they head back into turn number 1 for lap number 2. And as I always, I like to poke around at paint schemes, see who's got going what. And one of those drivers that loves to do the custom paint schemes, that is none other than that Bud Steele machine in the number 6. He's got a nice little Halloween-themed paint scheme there with the skull on the hood with the flames. I say Bud's always got something going, and definitely appreciate Bud's originality. It's a lot of fun to see and have on track. And like I said, every week there's something fun that he's got for us to kind of poke at. So big thank you to Bud. And just again, yeah, his ideas and originality, it's a lot of fun. We talked about 2 drivers dropping back. We got 2 there doing the exact opposite. And that is these 2 on the outside line there. The 17 of Jimmy Reynolds right behind him. The 05 Brian Wing. Great to see Brian back on track. kind of over the summer, a lot of us were following his trip. I mean, he was going all over the place, showing pictures and video clips of what he was up to. It was really cool to see Brian doing everything he was, and yeah, but glad to have him back. Glad to have him back on track as well. And so he's wasting no time. He's trying to get to the front there, and one that is no stranger to that third lane. Wait for the Groover brothers. They're gonna get there. They're not going yet, but give them some momentum here. They'll get up top. There they go, right on cue, and they're gonna try to join the party. But I think, Dean Wilkinson, he's gonna drop to the apron. A little bit of contact there. He's gonna bump him. That's gonna bump him down into the apron there. A little bit of a moment there that allows Kevin Freeze though and Robert Hooligan to drop to the inside line, and now that third lane drops to the middle, and that's gonna let the Groovers have a full run here on that outside on their own. Also had a very formal request. Got to give some attention to this fella's favorite baseball team. That is Andrew Schroeder in that number 48. As he roots on the Yankees in the World Series coming up, I believe, tomorrow night. As I said, a huge wreck up front there. Unfortunately, he is involved as well. You see Brian Wang's in it, the 41 there. Pretty much the front half of the field's all caught up in this one. We'll go back and see because we're focused on Andrew there. But, yeah, I mean, actually, look at the 17, Jimmy Reynolds. He's got significant damage as well. Oh, big one strikes early here at Talladega. That's going to cost a lot of drivers some repairs and probably some fast repairs. Let's go back, see what exactly happened on this one. Because that was, again, that's one of those ones, I mean, definitely caught me off because we were obviously, as you saw, not focused on it. Let's go back. So we're 3 wide here up front. I'm going to focus on Jimmy Reynolds because we saw he had some pretty severe involvements with the damage. But was it maybe just a push gone wrong? Maybe a little bit of net code? So far you can see everything's looking okay. Saw the 54 have a little bit of a blink there connection-wise. Oh, actually, look at Brian Wang. It looks like he had contact, so let's actually go back to Brian now. And we'll see. Maybe there was some contact, or is it just... I mean, again, I talked about the track temp being pretty high, but it looks like... Oh, yeah, you can see right there. And again, this is not a huge bump, just a little bump here in from the 30 Carl Lingle. And I don't even know if he got to him, but man, the 05 just steps out. Unfortunately, this is where you're going to get the contact. That's going to right hook the 25. That catches these guys. And then actually the 17 looked like he had it cleared. But actually, he and Kevin Freeze get stuck together there. Oh, and that's what throws Jimmy into the wall. Kevin actually gets a piece as well. So, yeah, like I said, this was a huge incident here. You see in the background there, too. I'm showing the 88 there of Gabe Butler. Looks like he's got the hood popped off of his car. See a handful of guys going through the grass to avoid it. Oh, man, that's a big incident here. You can still see other cars getting caught up, and you see a couple of guys that drop to the back. Very pleased with their decision, but you see again down here, Austin Call, Jack Wall is down there trying to find a way to get through as well. Maybe a little bit of contact for them. But yeah, just a number of cars involved in this, unfortunately. So definitely the big one here early at Talladega. We'll jump back live, though, to see strategy-wise. It does look like everybody pitted. I'm trying to double-check to see kind of who's where on the pit side of things. It looks like Dean Wilkinson. We saw him just have a slight involvement in it, nothing crazy, but a little bit of contact. That car doesn't look any worse for wear, though. And then I'm looking at some of the drivers that have had some really lengthy pit stops, which unfortunately might be from having to take tows. I'm not 100% sure. But I see Seth and Patrick Groover there, Brian Wang as well. So actually Brian's getting tires now, so I think his either had to tow or just significant repairs. I'm not sure. He's down the way, so I'm thinking it's probably fast repair. Actually, I think it's fast repairs for all three of these guys. I'm seeing now tires going on both of these cars as well. So I'm going to say, yeah, probably a tow and then a fast repair. Eric Laurie, same thing you see for him. He still sits on pit road. I think he was able to drive back, but a lot of drivers with 30 to 40 plus second pit stops, unfortunately. So that's going to bring us back to the front of the field here, though, for Dean Wilkinson. Now we see, do we see anybody top off here in the one to go? You see Carl Lingle. He's going to go ahead and pop on in. I think he may have driven through the pits potentially to try to avoid some of that carnage. But he is going to bring a bunch of them along with him. You can see right now you've got, I'm going to say, about at least 3/4 of the field. You see Gabe Butler there. He's got pretty solid damage to the back end of that car. Still the hood missing too. That might be one of those ones where he kind of went out there, felt it out, see what he could see. I'm curious to see now if we see a fast repair happen to that 88 car. Yep, there it is. So unfortunately for Gabe, having to burn the fast repair very early. It's never what you want to have happen in this one, because now he's going to have to run these remaining 60-something laps here, just basically without hopefully any dramas. So not how I wanted to start off tonight in that Golf Pub Social number 88, but again, a lot of racing to go. Same, if there's anybody that knows how to still get a good result out of some troubles, it would be that 88. And then, yeah, like I mentioned, a lot of these guys, right? So, yeah, so basically that top 4 you see right there, those are the only drivers there that did not top off in the one to go. The first of those that did top off will be that 51 of Jim Brooks. And then from him on back, it appears as well. So you'll see a long, long line here, single file on the backstretch. And also, you can sometimes notice on the camera feed, you'll see kind of a haze off the cars. I mentioned the track temperature and such. Ambient, only 72 degrees. Very nice outside. Track temperature, 130 degrees. So track is warm. It's going to be a little slicker, a little greasier. And I'm saying that's why you're seeing kind of that heat haze off the cars, off the track a little bit, just from those temperatures. So, yeah, and again, that might be playing a role too, or maybe the bump drafting that we typically see, it might upset these cars a little bit more than they expect to have happen. So there's a lot that we might see there. You also see on the left side, you see the 05, the 54, and the 32, all unfortunately one lap down at the moment. So that's going to make the lucky dog battle pretty good between that 05, the 54, and that 32. So we'll have to keep an eye out on them. And unfortunately, Seth kind of drew the short stick there because, we got trouble in the back there. A little bit of contact with these guys checking up. And it looks like they're back together. It was Andrew Schroeder, unfortunately, who got a little bit of contact. However, the nice part is we're at Talladega. Start-finish line a little further through the tribal. They should be able to get themselves gathered back up as we get back to green. Hopefully no drafts being lost. Brian Wang actually missed. I don't know if he missed a shift, but he's around caution out. And hopefully everybody's able to squeak by here, but that's going to be a big break for one of the drivers they're involved in. Brian's actually back to pit road here. That might be night over for him. And, Patrick back as well. So, I don't know if it's a full moon again or something, but I don't know what just happened there. Well, I'm going to try to listen in. Let's listen on that 05 car. I'm wondering maybe a missed shift, or we'll have to try to get a better look here to see. Yeah, it's either a miss shift or possibly what they deemed the money shift. So basically they were in second gear and he was going to third, but may have unfortunately hit the first gear gate instead of third. And at that point, basically the car just isn't going to go anywhere. And Patrick, basically, he was ready to go. He was locked on the back of the 05. And there's just not much you can do in that situation. So Field's catching back up to the pace car. So what we'll do is we're going to step away for a moment, take advantage of this break, show off some of our wonderful sponsors. So let me we're going to show off one of our great sponsors, and that is Sensi. They've been great to work with, so definitely want to give them a little bit of extra love too. So we'll be right back.
At Sensi, we love fragrance. How it makes us feel, how it connects us to our deepest memories, how sharing those memories connects us with each other.
And as it turns out, there's a lot of people who feel the same way and share Sensi's core values of simplicity, authenticity, and generosity. Our beautiful campus in Meridian, Idaho welcomes employees, consultants, and the community year-round.
That's why we've grown from selling just warmers and wax to selling a complete line of products, so you can fill your life with fragrance no matter where your day takes you.
Whether it's fun partnerships with beloved brands, innovative, high-performing cleaning products, laundry care that smells as good as it works, or personal care products to create your signature scent, Scentsy products are made to share.
Maybe that's why our culture has always felt like family. We call it Scentsy Spirit. It's a feeling of love, acceptance, generosity, and community that we share freely with everyone we meet. And we welcome you to experience it yourself. Like it? Buy the product. Love it? Host a get-together with your friends. Want more? Start your own Scentsy business. You can earn amazing trips around the world and rewards. You can work your business whenever and wherever you want, giving you more time for the things and people that matter most. Ask your Scentsy consultant for more info.
All right, so the bad news unfortunately for Patrick Gruber, good news for Seth, as he was able to get waved around, will be back on the lead lap. I believe we may have a retirement. Looks like I think Brian's back on pit road. Not sure if hopefully getting some repairs done. We're still waiting for that one to go here, which will happen here at the line. Not seeing too many drivers topping off this time around. A little further back, looks like Jim's going to bring a handful in. Carl Lingle, Anthony English, Bob Fitzgerald. So pretty much 11th on back here, all topping off now. Again, looking at the laps here, I don't think this is going to change anything on the fuel side of things. I think these guys still in the 3-stop window. I think the only chance that's going to have the 2-stopper is once you get to, again, maybe about that lap 18, 19 margin. At that point, maybe being able to pull something off. But right now, I think these guys are just trying to shorten their fuel stops, basically. So, so I'll have to keep an eye and see on that one. And then, we'll have to wait and see. It looks like I said, from Dean Wilkinson down to Seth Gruber. And it's actually even better for Seth. Well, we'll have to wait and see. He might have to let these drivers on by. As he was the wave around car, a lot of times you have to let all the guys that pit, but sometimes with the one to go, you actually wind up getting back in line. So you'll probably see the 32 here just dropping back as far as he's supposed to, based on what the spotters tell them. So they're still getting that all sorted out here. But yeah, I'm still not seeing the 54 on track. I do see the 05 still on pit road. And then Andrew Schroeder looks like had a little lengthier stop as well. That car's looking like it is good to go. So we're going to rack them up here. Take attempt number 2 on this restart. Again, I think just a little miscue there. I think just either a misshift or sometimes too, depending on the shifters, you'll have, it sounds weird, but you'll have just a little hardware glitch where you put it in gear, but maybe the shifter that the driver has didn't input it correctly. I know there's been a few shifters that have had that issue. Obviously, unfortunately, we don't know exactly what happened, but I have seen that before, so definitely unfortunate for Brian and for Patrick, but it's unfortunately just one of those things with racing. You just never know if the luck's going to go your way or not. So once again, though, with all the drivers topping off on the one to go, again, a long line on the inside lane. That's going to allow Dean Wilkinson once again to have control here. And we're going to take a look out the right rear of his car. We'll get a great shot. That's not the right rear. So I think the camera's got a little goofy again, so apologies for that. But we are back to green here. Dean Wilkinson leading the way on the inside line. Outside line is Robert Hooligan. And right now it's pretty much a dead heat here. So right now, as we run, still have 24 drivers on the lead lap. It does look like now the 54 of Patrick Gruber has officially shown as retired, unfortunately for him. You see his brother Seth, though, still in the mix running that outside line. He's got some help. Yes, he does. He's got Kevin Freeze going to jump along with him there in that 25. We'll hop, as I said, I'll hop on board. And that makes it hard to want to draft to somebody when you see that car in front of you disappearing, because you get nervous because at some point they might disappear and pop up in front of you or even in your car. So we'll have to keep an eye on that. I do see the 30 of Carl Lingle on pit road, possibly a pit road penalty for him. So he's on pit road. It looks like serving that at the moment. So unfortunately, that's going to drop him a lap here. So unfortunately, same thing. He's going to need to hopefully find some draft to tie on to give himself a chance to kind of just stay in the main pack, be able to have a chance to stay on the lead, or not lead lap, but try to stay just the one down and be able to benefit from hopefully a waiver on Lucky Dog. So we'll have to wait and see. But right now, 3-wide battle for the front top 2 rows, all 3x3. And at the line, Bud Steele leads that lap with help from Mike Rimkus in that number 79. And he's able to clear to the inside lane. That lets Seth Gruber drop to the the middle lane. Unfortunately, Kevin Freeze, nowhere for him to go, so he's going to take over the lead of the outside lane. But he's got some help on its way, courtesy of Austin Call. I see Gabe Butler on his way, Anthony English, Eric Laurie. So they've just gathered a bunch of cars in that third lane. Watch for the surge to happen there. Looking out the back of Bud Steele, and that's what you're going to see is whoever's right behind him, they're going to stay right locked on. And right now, let's say that is Robert Hooligan. And that third lane is starting to pick up some pace there. You can see the 79. He's kind of trapped in the middle. Those two clear to the inside, or I should say again, to the middle lane. And yep, I'll say that's going to kind of force the hand of that third lane. They're going to drop back. Well, actually, maybe not. I'll say for a second, it looked like Austin was going to stay committed to Mike there on the middle lane. But now they jump back up again. And so right now, again, Mike's going to kind of be left in the middle, but he's got a lot of drafting help from the middle lane with the 25 and the 32. So I don't think he's going to be too bad off here. Should be able to safely be able to tag on there. Dean Wilkinson looks a little squirrely. He gets it gathered up there. But again, I'm wondering if that track temperature may be kind of making these drivers a little bit more on edge, maybe just a little less comfortable than they're used to. As right now you see that 32, Seth Gruber leads that lap there as we've now started lap number 16. I can confirm Carl Lingle is trapped one lap down, unfortunately, and is out of the draft as the field is about to head into turn number 3. He's just turning into turn number 1 right now, so unfortunately he's going to definitely be dropping back another lap. So while we're watching all that, the third lane, Carl Lingle, talking about him. Now you see Austin Call, though. He's worked to the third lane. He's got help from Gabe Butler, Eric Laurie, as well as that 17 of Jimmy Reynolds. Not a bad place to be in. So now we got the top 4 rows all running 3x3 here. Right now, I'll say the safest place to be is the first driver single file. Looks to be right around Jim Brooks in the 51. But these guys still pretty tightly packed on each other, so not a lot of wiggle room should anything occur. Hopefully, of course, doesn't. I think right now one of the safer places, I think, is this guy way up top there. And if I am not mistaken, that is going to be Nathan Aldrich there. I kind of like where Nathan is here. He's in the draft. He's now got draft from Rick Seabrands in the 4. And now actually, Rick goes back down. He's got a little bit of help from Adam Kilday. So he's still got some tow, but he's got he can see basically everything that's going on. And I like that. I think that's exactly where I want to be. We'll hop on board. And this is kind of what he can see. So let's see if we can get a better. There's a good view off his roll bar. So this is roughly what he can see. He doesn't have that giant bar in the way like we do, but yeah, this is a position I would much prefer to be in. Let's go to someone like Jim Brooks. There's a lot less wiggle room, and right now he's not really tucked up on the back of Jack Walls. However, I'll say it's still a lot less visibility, especially when they're like they are. So again, it's that risk versus reward. And while we were poking around, Austin Call, he's found his way to the inside line as he and the 32 get really close to 80. Oh, we got trouble in the back there. Right now, just the two cars. It looks like Mike Rimkus and Jimmy Reynolds. I think it may just be the two of them. I think Andrew Schroeder had to go off track a little bit, but I think they're going to be okay. And it looks like, unfortunately, both these guys having to take a tow. And it's coming right at that fuel window time I just mentioned. We're on lap 19 now, so they'll be pitting at lap 20. This could actually be great news for the fuel side of things. But let's go back and see what exactly occurred here. Because once again, it's hard to say for sure there. We'll focus on the 17 and the 79. We'll start with Mike Rimkus. Let's get a look from his point of view. And, it might be met in the middle and maybe a little bit of net code. But as say, it's one of those ones, unfortunately, I think both drivers just kind of going for the same real estate. Adam Kilday just squeezing through there. And then I think everybody else able to do a really good job of getting through that. So you can see here from the wide shot, some of these other drivers kind of taking it straight to the apron. You see a couple just pretty much throwing on the anchor there to make sure they find a safe way through. And yeah, there's the off-roading you see by Andrew Schroeder there. He's just going where he can to make sure he doesn't get involved. So a great call by him. And then yeah, Ed DeBoer, like I mentioned, he just kind of threw on the brakes, said, "Yeah, I'm gonna get out of this and just let you guys figure out where you're going. Then I'll jump into it." So great job there as well by Ed. And unfortunately, the bad luck for those guys should be great luck for Carl Lingle, as again he was by himself without the draft, and he's going to be able to pull up to the back of the pace car and should get back on that lead lap in that number 30 machine. And sure enough, as you see, there he goes around in the pace car. He'll get back to the point. And then I'm seeing a strategy call here by none other than a Gabe Butler. I think drove through the pits, and then he's going to go ahead and pit the second time around there. Just opting to kind of get out of the chaos, I have a feeling. So what we'll do again during this break, let's take advantage, and we will pull off another one of our wonderful sponsors. This time, our great camera shots from Whiplash Sim Cams. Stay tuned. All right, lights are off of the pace car. You see the top 6 drivers stayed out. Looks like 7th on back, starting with Austin Call, all opting to go ahead and top off. You see Carl Lingle there in the 30. He's catching back up to the field as well. So again, great opportunity for these guys to make the most of it. And talked about the fuel mileage. I think this caution puts us at 2 stops now to the end. As I mentioned, lap 19 kind of being the magic number. These guys all pitting at lap 19, lap 20 if they topped off. And of course, like I mentioned earlier as well, with these caution laps being under yellow, they're going to be saving a lot more. So it might be pitting on 19, but realistically it's going to be kind of pitting more by lap 2021. So I feel like this should pretty safely put these guys in the window to be able to go kind of full send here without having to worry about trying to make any fuel numbers to make it 2 stops to the end. But again, though, that's part of racing. Is like I said, the goal, of course, is to kind of avoid having it happen from the get-go. But if it's something that just happens naturally, that's just part of racing. And Connie, good evening. I'll say there is that number 41 of Jeremy Osborne right now showing in the 4th position in that blind squirrel machine. So he's just got his teammate back on the lead lap, the 30 of Carl Lingle, so he'll be happy to have some help here shortly. But yeah, right now he's up 8 spots from 12th into 4th. So again, still lots of racing to go, but definitely glad to have you here watching and supporting Jeremy. And we'll be sure to definitely keep an eye on him as the race progresses. However, if you don't see enough attention on him, call me out, let me know, and then we can get that camera back over to him. But definitely thank you for watching and supporting us. All right, we're going to hand it back over to the front row. Bud Steele on the inside, Robert Hooligan on the outside. Green flag is out, and we are backed away here starting lap number 22. So right now the inside line, kind of some of the original members of the league there. You got Bud Steele leading Jack Walls, Jim Brooks. I say these are definitely 3 of, I believe, the founding members, if I'm not mistaken. Definitely some of the originals. I'll get in trouble because I don't remember who all of them formally are, unfortunately. But what was I say that? Oh my goodness, big wiggles there from the 41 trying to lock onto the 126 there. And that was really close there. And again, I do need to mention, I apologize, but with this new build, these cars do not push quite the same way that they used to, where you could really lock the bumpers and shove. There's times now where if you bump it, really it'll move that car in front of you, and you'll kind of get a little wobble to it. And so these guys have to be very, very deliberate in their pushes, and that might be some of the instances we've seen where it might just be a little bit of a bump in the turns that normally would be fine, and now it's not something that's as feasible anymore. So definitely, again, something to keep an eye on. We still do have 23 drivers here, or actually, I'm sorry, 22 drivers, I believe, still on track on the lead lap. I'll say again, watch the timing and scoring on the left-hand side, and I believe we might have another retirement. Yeah, that's gonna be Mike Rimkiss, as we had mentioned earlier, and now officially Brian Wang as well out of this one. Right now, Jimmy Reynolds lengthy pit stop, but not officially retired, but I think he may be done as well in that 17. However, back to the top line goes the 88 Gabe Butler. He's got his teammate Eric Laurie right behind him. And I say again, never one to avoid a third lane. You see that 32 there of Seth Gruber. He looks like he's going to try to tag along with him here. Kevin Freeze looks like he's kind of pinned to the bottom at the moment, so I don't think Kevin's got much on the option side of things, but right now that third lane going very well with that 88 and 071, and now add that 32 to the mix. Oh man, but right now these cars do not look the most settled, I must admit. It seems like they've definitely got a little bit of side-to-side play in them. Track temp still sitting right around 130 degrees. Like I mentioned, that'll definitely play a role in this thing. And of course, the other thing too is depending on the temperatures, these cars might get hot quicker than they're used to. So again, also got to keep an eye on that water and oil temperatures, make sure they're not getting too hot. But right now you see again, perfect timing for Connie because like I said, the 41 Jeremy Osborne, he is vying for the lead of this race. He's got great help from Adam Kilday behind him. He's got a nose ahead down the back. I don't think, nope, not quite clear as of yet, so he's got to stay in that middle lane here through 3, as he's got Robert Hooligan to his inside, Gabe Butler to his outside. But these guys, again, the first 3 lanes all running 3x3 here. See right there, Gabe Butler, same thing, just a nose ahead, but not enough to clear as of yet. It's very close though, and there he goes. He's able to clear. He gets straight to the bottom lane there, wastes no time. Again, also with the big pushes from his teammate. Eric Lorry's temperatures probably were starting to get a little warm. He said, all right, if I clear, I got to get down, and so he's able to do that to also probably spare his teammate a little bit. Unfortunately, though, that takes that numbers down from 3 drivers to 2 drivers. That lets Jeremy Osborne now get to the point, get to that inside line as they continue on here as the 85 as well. Right now, I'll say again at the line. This time, I believe it will be Jeremy Osborne leading this lap. It was close, but I think he may have just edged out Seth Gruber there at the line. But again, they've got plenty of time to battle it out there. And as I say that, those guys just about go door to door. These guys, again, there might be only on lap 27, but these guys are racing like there's about 7 to go. So just the aggression definitely picking up. And now Seth's got a great help from that 85 of Adam Kilday. But again, though, couldn't quite clear. So he's going to stay. Oh, a little bit of a bobble from the 41. I think he's got it gathered up. He's going to drop it to the apron. Hopefully he can keep it down there. Oh, my goodness. Great hands there by Jeremy Osborne. Got really loose. Was able to chase it back, get it down to the apron. And, yeah, he's able to catch it, get back on the apron. He's going to still pick up the draft of those cars in front of him. Probably going to get a little bit of love from Carl Lingle right behind him as well. But, man, that was a very close call, and great heads up by all the drivers. Great heads up by him as well, just hanging on to that thing. And you can see that's really kind of not jumbled the running order, but it kind of moved everybody around a little bit. And Austin Call's wondering what he has to do to make some friends here, because he jumped out and he didn't have anybody go with him. He's got to wait about 3 cars now to get back to the 32 of Seth Gruber. And he said, Seth's catching me way too quickly. I'm just going to go and jump back out of here. So now Seth's going to roll that top line. At the moment, he's got about a car length and a half till he gets to Tom Dixon in that 411. And then we talked about Nathan Aldrich kind of cruising in the back earlier on. Nathan's starting to make a charge as well here. He decided, you know what? I've rode in the back long enough. I'm ready to push my way forward. So good to see that car in the high point forward running towards the front now early in this race. And now, I haven't talked about a couple of drivers here lately, so we got to make sure we give them a little bit of love during the broadcast. Got to kick it over, start with Anthony English. One of our part-timers, a very talented super speedway racer. Races over at, I believe, the OP Racing League on a couple other nights there. But yeah, very good racer in his own right. And so always a pleasure to have him on the track. He's always one to keep an eye out for as well. Another one of those as well, Mark Mann there in that 04. He's usually rocking some sort of Batman-oriented paint scheme, and definitely see that as well. I can see there's little details in that paint scheme that I can't quite make out, unfortunately. But yeah, great to have Mark here, as well as Rick Seabrands right behind him in the number 4 Yeti Chevrolet. Right now, Rick is up 9 spots from his starting position. As always, I think he's just one of the ones that we all love to race with, and that is Bob Fitzgerald. Just a really mellow but really easygoing dude, and always fun to hang out with and talk with. And so it's always fun to see Bob here on track. And right now, just kind of like I've always talked about, he's just doing his thing. He's staying out of trouble, waiting till it's time to actually try to push a little harder and work his way to the front. So, like I said, always a pleasure to have Bob out on track in his WeatherTech paint scheme there. Shane Van Gisbergen, obviously the official owner, if you will, of said paint job. But I'll say that's definitely a driver that's kind of gained popularity in all racing ranks, especially here in the U.S. very recently. We chatted about him earlier, but he's going to want some more attention there in the Yankee pinstripes of Andrew Schroeder. Very happy that they're in the World Series. So I believe that playoff starts in, I think, tomorrow night, if I'm not mistaken. So you got the New York, LA World Series. Feel like that's something we have seen from times before. Right behind him is the Nerd Busters, which is driven by Dustin Logston. And the Nerd Busters may have been effective because I haven't found Matt Wagner yet. so he may have been nerd busted. So we'll have to check with Dustin post-race, see if he can let Matt back out. That way he can keep broadcasting with us in the future. Then we got Ed DeBoer there in that number 12 Black Rifle Coffee. And right now he is still in the 21st spot. But again, I think he's just kind of chilling out right now, waiting to bide his time. Dean Wilkinson doing the same. He was up front. He said, you know what, we're going to drop back. And Nathan Aldrich, he was up front. He said, you know what, I'm going to go ahead and drop back. And I think, yeah, we've got a train going here. I say if they would have done that a lap or two earlier, I could have done a very effective through the field. But since they're doing it now, let's do it now. Through the field here, Adam Kilday. He is plus 23 spots to the point in that number 85 machine. Right behind him is that John Deere machine of Eric Laurie. Started in 5th, currently in 2nd. Then Gabe Butler plus 12 from his spot up into 3rd in that number 88 Golf Pub Social. We've seen this car up front a lot tonight. That is Robert Hooligan there in that 126 Budweiser machine. And then in 5th is the Austin Call in the Aflac Toyota Supra. I'll say again, Austin, one of those ones that may not make all the races, but always a pleasure to have. And he's definitely one that I wind up having to keep an eye on, just because he's always got something up his sleeve. So definitely glad to have Austin here. And we've talked about the Halloween paint scheme. Bud's always got something up his sleeve, and it was Halloween themed here for tonight in that number 6 car. So right now, Bud running in 6th, started in 7th. Behind him, we talked about these guys running together a little earlier. That is Jack Walls in that number 83. I'm not sure if the Walls oil scheme is getting refreshed or what's going on, but he's got primer black here tonight in that 83 machine. And then again, talked about the 3 of them running together. Add the 51 of Jim Brooks to the mix there. Right now in the 8th spot, started back 13 spots behind that one. I'm not going to do the math on that one. And then you got Seth Groover in the 32 McDonald's machine. Unfortunately, he has lost his brother due to damage early on in the race. Unfortunately, that's the one Groover left going for the win here tonight. And then behind him, that number 25 Kellogg's machine of Kevin Fries. And again, we always hope that Kevin stays classy in his interviews. I said I haven't had a chance to peek at all the other driver pictures, but Kevin's always got something fun going on with his. So always appreciate the little details that he does. Just mentioned Anthony English, so we don't need to talk about him anymore. But he is currently 11th, 3 spots up from his starting position. And then Connie's favorite driver, Jeremy Osborne, in that number 41, right where he started in the 12th spot. And he's got his help from his teammate there, Carl Lingle, right behind him. Again, Carl got his lap back that last yellow, so he's back into the mix here. So it's a great opportunity for him. And we just, as well, like I mentioned, talked about Mark Mann in the 04. They're the Batman car. He's hiding in there somewhere. There he is in that 04 machine right now in 14th. Tom Dixon in that green, white checker TV paint scheme. Big thank you to Tom for giving us a little bit of love as well. It's still, it doesn't click sometimes, all the praise and all the love we get from the drivers. So big thank you to them as well. It's definitely something that makes it all the more exciting and fun for us to do, just to know that they enjoy what we do. And while I said that, they said, let's go to the front, and that is going to kick it off, it looks like, with the Nerd Buster of Dustin Logston. So we'll poke back on him real quick, as he is now working just outside the top 10 with help from Dean Wilkinson in that number 55. And now we'll continue back down the order to Rick Seabrands in that number 4 machine, the Yeti Coolers Chevrolet. As we talked about as well, right behind him is Bob Fitzgerald in the 08. And as I just caught in the corner of my eye there, Rick Seabrands with the crash test dummy. Hopefully that doesn't come into play here tonight. Then you got, like I mentioned, Andrew Schroeder there in the 048. He'll definitely be watching some TV tomorrow night. Then Ed DeBoer there in that 12 machine. Ed's been a great addition to the league. He's been running really well. I feel like he's been keeping that nose very clean as well. So big shout out to Ed joining up over here. Then we go one more spot here to Nathan Aldrich. Again, right now, kind of the last of the cars on this lead pack. And then it took 16 minutes, but Jimmy Reynolds back out on track in that number 17 machine. So love to see that from Jimmy, not giving up here. He's going to be several laps down here. I'll say we'll wait for timing and scoring to update on my end. 15 laps down at the moment. For the sake of the other drivers and selfishly myself, kind of hope he doesn't get all those laps back, because that means there'd be a lot of yellows. However, we're nearing pit stop window, so let's watch. See, no takers as of yet, but mentioned they all pitted around lap 19-20. We said that they could go about 19 would be the magic number, so based on that, lap 39, maybe lap 40 would be the window we should keep an eye out, and we're starting lap 38 as we speak. So what I'm going to say is probably these guys that have been up front for a long time, expect to see them start to jump in, and then those guys that have been saving this whole run. And again, I look at drivers that like to save fuel and go the extra lap. I look at Bud Steele. I'm looking at Austin Call shaking that car a little bit, either just a little bored or maybe trying to make sure he's got a little extra in the tank. I know that's a thing that they use in real life. I don't know if iRacing's got that in store. I think Austin just might be trying to amuse himself a little bit here. So, but based on that, though, like I said, I think we're about to see a pit stop window open very soon. As again, we're approaching now lap number 39. Going to start that one this time around. As we just crossed the halfway point in this one. And yeah, I think at this point, these guys, if they pit here, they can make it on one more stop. And I say we'll keep an eye on Austin, see if he's got the wiggles again here going down the backstretch. Looks like he's been able to shake those out of his system for the moment. But again, though, I think we'll see the first pit stop takers will probably be this group here with Adam Kilday, Eric Laurie, Gabe Butler. I expect to see these guys probably the first ones to blink. I feel like they've been up front the longest of the field. And that said, though, again, still no takers, Rhea. And like I mentioned, we are halfway, so this time by is going to be 36 to go. So, of course, breaking that up evenly, that means they need to be able to go 18 laps on each take. We talked about 19 being the magic number earlier. So based on that, I am saying these guys can make it from here to the end. However, that's to the scheduled distance end. Should we throw in a little wrench into the mix courtesy of a green-white checkered? I think these guys probably coming back onto pit road. And the other thing to mention, again, track temperature. It is 130-degree track temp. These cars may not go down to pit speed as nicely as they usually do, so these guys are going to have to be ready. See, Eric Laurie just caught the apron a little bit. And is that a sign that these guys are getting ready to come in here, getting keyed up or not? And no, they are not continuing to go on here. So right now, nobody's blinked as of yet. Again, safely on fuel numbers here. I think there's zero question now, even there, because we're 35 to go. That means the latest now they'll pit is with 34 to go. And again, just keep dividing in half, so that would be 17 laps per tank. So yeah, I feel pretty confident all these guys can make it after this stop. They'll just need to make one more stop, again, with about that magic 17, 18 laps to go. Then it's just a question of kind of, again, who's going to blink first or last. As you see, yeah, here comes the field. All games, some's organized. Dustin Logston's hoping someone's going to give him a slack. Dean Wilkinson's trying to give him a little bit of love, and yeah, there he goes. He backs it off, lets Dustin slot in there. Austin probably had to back down a little bit too, so I'm going to say let's watch pit road. But no, again, no takers. I just based on the aggressiveness and kind of the urgency of getting to the inside, I thought for sure we are going to see somebody jump in there, but no takers yet still, as we got 34 to go. But again, though, if I'm some of these guys, if I've been able to save that extra lap here, I'm starting to make that call, say, hey, let's get that outside line going. Let's not stay on this bottom lane, because look at the timing and scoring on the lift. You've got Adam Kilday leading. You've got 2 and almost 3/4 of a second all the way back to Nathan Aldrich here. So that puts Nathan at almost a 3-second deficit getting onto pit road. So if he has any bobble, he could lose the draft here. So that's, again, why if you're going to go ahead and pit, you really want to make a charge and try to be up there, further up the running order. So, again, I am surprised that nobody's kind of jumped in as of yet. But again, like I said, all this does is tell us that there's definitely no fuel saving needing to be done. Just right now, it's kind of a game of chicken, really, of who wants to pit first. And right now, nobody wants to. we're going to watch here. Let's watch pit entry. Do we see any takers this time around? And as you can see, as they're all blowing by pit road, answer continues to be no, as we're getting down to now 32 to go. And so, yeah, any field numbers I had definitely appeared to not be very accurate, as these guys have actually gone close to 24, 25 laps on fuel. So I got a much different number on the fuel mileage that these guys were going to be getting. I was hearing it'd be in the high teens. These guys are approaching low, if even mid 20s on fuel. And I'm not going to say that they've really backed the pace down any crazy amount, because they're running 50.7s right now, all single file in line. While some of them have really fast times, of course, with a huge draft of like a 49.8, so about a second quicker. But right now, they're definitely not half throttling or anything like that up front. I think these guys are foot to the floor. It's just, yeah, they've been getting really, really good mileage out of these things. And now that the strategy has changed, to me, this will really open up the possibilities for pit stop strategies for the remainder of this race. Again, should we go green? Because at this point now, we're within 30. We're going to be 30 to go next time by. Again, they pitted on lap 19 to 20, so about 25 laps ago. So right now, that's about a 5-lap window of basically a fuel that they would need. They would need about 5 laps to make it to the end from here, additional. So that could mean they pit, and then as soon as they're in the window, they could pit again for just a splash of fuel. So it's going to be really fun to see. And as we see that, here they come heading to pit road. And it's going to be just 2 right now. Oh, a little bit of extra love. Hopefully not too hot on entry. That's going to be Adam Kilday and Robert Hooligan jumping in together. We'll see again. Can't say for sure. It was aggressive. There's a little bit of contact, but hopefully the two of them were able to get down to speed. So what we will do, we will watch their pit stop times, and I can tell you pretty quickly if indeed there was any penalties or not. Right now, waiting for Adam Kilday to cycle through, and he is down and away. So no penalties for the number 85, about a 15.5-second pit stop. Waiting for the 126, and he is rolling as well, 12.32 seconds. So the two of them safely in and out of pit road. Looks like they're pretty well organized as well for just the two of them. So now we're going to see again, do we see a response? And the answer is yes. And it's going to be a pretty solid response here. You've got Austin Call, Bud Steele, Jack Walls, Jim Brooks. You got Seth Gruber there, the 41 Jeremy Osborne, Carl Eagle, and then Bob Fitzgerald and Ed DeBoer. So a good chunk of these guys coming in the second time by here. Again, this is with 29 to go. So again, these guys about 4 laps shy of making it to the end, which now we're going to add another wrinkle to the strategy. Can somebody go full fuel save? Can someone stretch this thing enough to maybe try to make this the final pit stop of their race? Again, pitted on lap 20. We're on lap number 20, on lap 47. So it's been 27 laps. Oh, Eric Laurie, I think he's out of fuel. He's dropped to the apron to react. And I see a few takers going a little further here. So we'll have to wait and see. But it's going to be Gabe Butler leading this pack onto pit road. Looks like nice and calm and clean. Eric Laurie still safely with the pack, so great job by him. So it's going to be another about 5 guys, but I'm watching this pack now up here. Oh, and I see Selwan still sitting on pit road. Unfortunately, it looks like a pit penalty for Jim Brooks. He is going to wind up falling, I believe, probably at least a lap down as he's just about to roll off pit road, it looks like. I think Bob Fitzgerald as well may have had a pit hold penalty. But I'm watching these guys pitted at lap 20 or on lap 48, and they're going to be pitting here with 27 to go. Can these 5 drivers make it on fuel? This could be their final scheduled stop here, so we'll see what these guys have in store. Anthony English, Mark Mann. Oh, we got a couple there off. I'm not sure if English got... If he got in pit road safely but down to speed, that's going to be the big question mark for those guys. You can see everybody's trying to find their pit stalls here. So we'll keep an eye. And, of course, now we got to see kind of where everybody gets themselves situated and see who's the best in and out of pit road. So right now we'll watch our last drivers to pit here. So we'll watch Kevin, again, trying to keep an eye on pit penalties, things of that nature. And I can tell you Anthony English did have a pit penalty. He has been held So unfortunately, those 5 drivers are going to turn into 4. You got Mark Mann, Kevin Freese, Rick Seabrands. A little bit of a gap there. The issue right here is for Andrew Schroeder. He's a fair bit off this pack because here comes Gabe Butler. He already has pitted. He is fully up to song. Mark Mann, they're still building speed here, so we'll watch out the back here. Can they get themselves up to speed before Gabe gets there? You see Kevin just pushing for all he is worth. But once these guys get to speed, they're going to want to basically drop anchor right behind Gabe and Dean here, because I think their goal right now is to try to make this thing to the end on fuel. However, where's Gabe? There he is. Okay, and I'm trying to see, will he continue the momentum and try to go all the way around? Because if he just tags onto the back of these guys, that may throw a wrench into their fuel save plan. So we'll wait and see, and it looks like, nope, Gabe's going to continue on by with help from Dean. So yeah, so this is going to be interesting here. So for those that cannot make it to the end, I think they need to basically push the pace of this race, try to find a way to force these guys that that pitted really late, find a way to force them to burn more fuel. But there's a very, very possible chance that Mark Mann, Kevin Freese, Rick Seabrands, that they can make it to the end on fuel. Unfortunately, that little miscue on the pit entry for Andrew Schroeder, he's lost that draft. So unfortunately, all his good fuel saving is going to be in a tough spot. So, as I say that, we got contact up front. So far, these guys stay pointed in the right direction. So unfortunately, let's say for them, we're going to stay green here. Let's go see what happened now to Gabe and Austin. Not sure if that was just a push gone wrong or some contact that net code or something like that. So we're going to focus on Gabe here. Austin comes down a little bit of net code, and then they just get hooked together, unfortunately. And yeah, unfortunately, I'll say I mean, you can maybe say going for the same real estate there, but honestly, it just looked like a little bit of net code. And I can tell you, unfortunately, Austin's had to take a tow back to pit road. Gabe, unfortunately, he's just got to wait now, and same thing, he's got to hope for a break to get back into the thick of this thing. You see Jim Brooks, Bob Fitzgerald, they've just been put down a lap in their machines. So right now, that's going to be the lucky dog battle here between the 51 and the 08. Right now, they haven't found anywhere to slot into as of yet. And then the next car that could come into play here, or actually, where did... Oh yeah, no, I'm sorry. Yeah, Austin Call took a tow, so that's where I think he actually may have retired as well. So yeah, so right now Jim is in the lucky dog position. However, he's about to be in contention with Anthony English because the leaders are just about to come up to him. And then after them, there's a pretty big gap, but unfortunately, Tom Dixon's off on his own, Jeremy Osborne on his own, as well as Gabe Butler with that contact, as well as Andrew Schroeder. So right now, you've pretty much got first through 14th here all together. Add a couple lap cars in that mix as well. You're about to add the 44 of Anthony English to that mix as well. So yeah, so I'll have to keep an eye and see. But again, my eyes are going to be right now it's going to be the pit strategy. Right now, Mark Mann is the first of those that did pit there the latest. But right now, he's also tagged right onto the back of Dean Wilkinson. So is that maybe having him burn a little extra fuel? We just talked about Kevin Freese, who is the 4th car in line. That's a pretty good spot to save fuel. And then also Rick Seabrands in the 4 car. And I like where Rick is. He's got a nice little gap there to Jack Walls in front of him. He's got Jimmy Reynolds there right behind him. So I feel like right now, fuel saving wise, I kind of like where the 25 and the 4 are the best. Now it's just about who's been able to manage their fuel numbers the best out of those guys. If, again, it's a big if, because we talked about the fuel numbers. That was with a couple caution laps, so there might have to be some big saving being done here. So we'll have to wait and see. But while these guys are being calm, we're going to show off another one of our sponsors side by side here, and that's going to be Sensi, as I haven't seen Ryan or Caitlin lately. But love you guys, and let's give you some love here on the broadcast. So.
At Sensi, we love fragrance, how it makes us feel. how it connects us to our deepest memories, how sharing those memories connects us with each other.
And as it turns out, there's a lot of people who feel the same way and share Scentsi's core values of simplicity, authenticity, and generosity. Our beautiful campus in Meridian, Idaho welcomes employees, consultants, and the community year-round.
That's why we've grown from selling just warmers and wax to selling a complete line of products, so you can fill your life with fragrance no matter where your day takes you.
Whether it's fun partnerships with beloved brands, innovative, high-performing cleaning products, laundry care that smells as good as it works, or personal care products to create your signature scent, Scentsi products are made to share.
Maybe that's why our culture has always felt like family. We call it Sensi Spirit. It's a feeling of love, acceptance, generosity, and community that we share freely with everyone we meet. And we welcome you to experience it yourself. Like it? Buy the product. Love it? Host a get-together with your friends. Want more? Start your own Scentsy business. You can earn amazing trips around the world and rewards. You can work your business whenever and wherever you want, giving you more time for the things and people that matter most. Ask your Scentsy consultant for more info.
As we were there on that side-by-side with Scentsy, you saw the change for the lead as Adam Kilday, so right now, those top two cars, Dean Wilkins in that car is looking a little unsettled. Looks like he's gathered to back up. Those front two cars, they are, the 44 tail end of the lead lap right now as they run. Jimmy Reynolds is tail end of 15 laps down, somewhere in that range. And then the battle for the lead is right now the 85 of Adam Kilday, as well as the number 81. Well, actually, that's just changed. I apologize. Now it's the 32 of Seth Gruber who's in second, but the 81 of Dustin Logston also one going for it as well here. So right now, the biggest Anthony English fan on the track is going to be Jim Brooks, because right now Jim is in that lucky dog position. If something were to happen, as long as he's not involved, as long as the 44 of Anthony English stays in front of Adam Kilday, Jim would actually get his lap back with the wave round, whereas Anthony would get it the old-fashioned way by being ahead of the leaders at the time of the caution. So that's kind of where things are at right now. You see the 17 of Jimmy Reynolds. I think they kind of shuffled them out and said, all right, I'll go ahead and back out of it. I was doing what I could, and I'll go ahead and drop back a little bit. So right now, though, Dean Wilkinson, though, he's trying to get Dustin Logston back to the point there in that 81. Again, we are 18 to go, so fuel window, like I said, we're safely in the window to make it to the end. Question mark, of course, will be when do these guys want to blink and hit road, but with the field kind of getting split up as much as it has, I'm expecting to see these guys go a little further than maybe usual. I don't think they have the numbers that they would like to have to be able to kind of try to short pit or anything like that. So the next car for position that's going to be coming up here for our leaders is going to be Tom Dixon there in the 411. He's unfortunately kind of rolling solo. This will be to put him one lap down. And then just ahead of them, about 7 seconds, is going to be Gabe and Jeremy Osborne trying to work together again. Just try to keep their pace up as best as they can. And they're slowly but surely reeling in Andrew Schroeder. I'm unfortunately say these two damaged cars just not able to make the times that they're hoping for. So but yeah, right now is these two in the second row battling for the lead there, with again Anthony English being tail end of the lead lap as we speak there. Big push by Adam that really unsettled the 44. You saw the reaction from Dustin as well as from Dean, but everybody's able to gather it back up. But those are these little things that start to occur from time to time with these big pushes, and it really can catch you guys by surprise. So that's the risk versus reward of trying to stay up front, trying to control this thing. And as I say that, Dustin Logston, he has taken the point here this time at the line. Again, they're trying to get themselves reorganized there. But you saw for a moment there, they kind of came disconnected. That's going to let the surge happen back to the inside here. And you can see now with that little hiccup there, Anthony English able to get just a nose back in front. However, Adam Kilday, a little bit of a disconnect there, a little blink there. That's always, again, same thing. That's going to slow that momentum down a tiny bit. And now that puts the lucky dog, the wave round, into the hands of the 44 which again takes it now away from the 51. However, in this case, Tom Dixon, he was able to slot in line ahead of 51. So right now, Tom Dixon would be second in line for the Lucky Dog should anything occur with the 44. So, yeah, a lot still can happen, and we're down to 15 to go here at the line. Again, fuel's a question mark. I feel like everybody has to pit with the question mark of the 04, the 25, and the 4. Can those three sip fuel to be able to make it? And it might even be one of those things where it doesn't matter if they even sputter across the line. It might be enough that they can do for those that top off to not still have a way to catch them. The question is going to be, again, if the other leaders know that they can make it or think they can make it, that might be where it's like, hey, let's go ahead and pit early, because the less we help them, the better for ourselves. As Dustin Logston gets loose from that push from Anthony English. And Anthony's thinking, or probably telling Dustin, like, hey, you wanted in front of me. If you want to get back behind me, I'd love to be the tail end of the lead lap car right now. So, but right now they kind of stay continued on there. Dean Wilkinson leading the outside line with Seth Groover. They're battling for the second position there, just to the outside of Adam Kilday in the 85. Right now that is that battle as well. As now, again, we're going to add a few more drivers to this Lucky Dog battle. Right there in front, the 41 and the 88. So little by little, we're starting to kind of gather all the cars back up that have been running by themselves, running kind of either in a small pack, and that's going to, looks like, hopefully bring the field all back together. You saw Seth Groover there jump to the apron, and you see that, again, the respect being given by Gabe and Jeremy there. They said, all right, let's go ahead and jump top. We'll try to pick up some draft, get lined up with the draft here, and see if we can hold on to these guys, because, again, just right now, their night's not going the way they would hope they would be. But again, still plenty of time to go. A lot of things can happen. If they get a caution, they could get a lot of damage repairs done to their cars and hopefully put them back in the running here. So again, though, right now still continues to be the 44 of Anthony English as our wave round car, the first car one lap down. Tom Dixon still the next in line on that one. And like I mentioned, I'd say I think these other guys just trying to see if they can tag on to the draft. I think Jeremy Osborne, yeah, he's slotted in here behind Jim. Gabe Butler looks like he's going to drop all the way to the back. I'm a little nervous if he's going to have enough momentum to tag onto the back of Carl Lingle there, so we'll have to keep an eye on that. Further up, though, back to the leaders. They're just about to start to swallow up Andrew Schroeder in the 48 car, apologies. So that would then bring the whole field together, and Gabe Butler, he said, you know what, I'm just going to go to hit pit road now. I think he did lose the draft, so he said it's not worth it. I'm just going to jump in now, minimize any extra time loss, and then be able, like, at this point, he knows he can make it to the end on fuel. So we'll have to wait and see as I say that. Oh, my goodness, that was a huge move by the 44 in front of the 32, and that could have been absolute perfect timing for Gabe Butler because he'd been on pit road at the time of the yellow. There goes Anthony English back to the tail end of the lead lap. Oh, man, these guys they're not backing down right now. I mean, we're getting down to it, but again, a lot of these guys know they still have to make one more pit stop, but nobody's taking yet the plan to go. Gabe's rolling out of pit road as we speak. Hopefully maybe a little bit more damage repair done to the 88 car where he can maybe hold the draft a tiny bit better. But yeah, right now, say he's still building up speed here through the apron in 1 and 2. This would put him 2 down. But again, there's still a lot of time to go, and just, yeah, I mean, you never know how this thing's going to unfold. And right now he's, again, as an admin, he's probably not hoping for him, but as a competitor, he is. It's like, man, if you guys have a quick caution right now, I'd still be on the just 1 down. I can get back into the thick of this thing, but right now it looks like everybody's minding their P's and Q's just enough. We'll probably see Gabe up. We'll see Gabe up on that 3rd lane. And I think this time he's got to be more aggressive. He's got to try to jump down as soon as he can to that middle lane, start to pick up some draft, and then go ahead and slot in. But right now he's still staying pretty tucked up to that outside lane. So unfortunately, I do worry that the same thing might occur again for him. However, and Anthony English, I'll say it's not all set in stone for him now. I'm watching Andrew Schroeder. Andrew's starting to get aggressive here. He wants to get himself back on the lead lap. As I said, a little bit of contact. Justin's trying to save it. And does save it. What an amazing job. Dustin Logston, hell of a save there, sir. We stay green because of those quick hands out of the 81. I think he'll safely hang on to the draft. Wow, that could have been huge if he spun it, he would have drifted back on track. If he overcorrected it, he would have pretty much taken out the front pack. But he had just enough correction there to do both and able to save it. And here we go. I think that little bit kind of caught these guys. All right, let's come in now, because if we get a yellow, we're going to cycle to the front. That's going to bring these four in: Dean Wilkinson, Robert Hooligan, Eric Laurie, and Bob Fitzgerald, all coming in together here. Coming at 9 to go. So again, they don't need a lot of fuel. Probably just about a couple gallons or so to get through there. So I would expect to see fuel only stops for these drivers. So probably like 6, maybe 7-second pit stops is my assumption, to be able to make it from here to the end. We'll have to wait and see. Of course, also hopefully no pit penalties. And I can tell you one miscue out of that. It looks like Bob Fitzgerald had 4 tires, so he had about a 14-second stop. But Dean Wilkinson, Eric Laurie, Robert Hooligan, all in the 5 to 6 second window, just like we were expecting to see. So they now need to get reorganized and basically just try to run as fast as they can here as they build back up speed. And hopefully those 3 cars are enough to kind of run equivalent lap times as our leaders, which will be the next thing that we keep an eye on to see once they get fully up to speed. Not this time around, but next time. What kind of lap times are we seeing out of that 55, 071, and 126? So we'll be keeping a close eye on them. But I still think we have a race within a race here. I think these guys up front, they're all racing to try to be the first of those and get the lead through pit stop cycles. I still think Mark Mann, Kevin Freeze, and Rick Seabrowns, they've got some of their sleeves here. I think they can pull off this fuel mileage because they have just been kind of just cruise control. I'm pretty used to seeing Kevin run that third lane, make some moves, try to push himself further forward. And we haven't seen that from him so far this run. So, like I said, I think there's some strategy going on behind the wheel of those 3 drivers. And then again, like I said, then it's going to be the question of who has the most fuel that can basically drop the hammer first and have the best chance of making it to the start-finish line with still fuel in the tank, or at least enough fuel to finish ahead of their competitors and ahead of those that do top off here coming to the end of this race. So a lot of strategy coming out here with when you want to make your pit stop, if you make your pit stop. So yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun to see. But right now still continues to be Adam Kilday leading with help from that 44 of Anthony English. You see the 32 Seth Groover. He's jumping to the top. Didn't expect to see that, I must admit. But he might be, is he trying to lock on, possibly maybe help out the 48? No, he's dropping further back here. So Seth, I'm not sure what the strategy is for Seth here, but he's gone ahead and opted to drop a little bit further back in the 32 car. And so, yeah, so right now these guys all kind of, again, getting that single file line down. Looking for the 55. Actually, identical laps. Dean Wilkinson ran a 50.81. Adam Kilday, 50.81. So 3-car draft was just as quick as this main pack right now. So that does bode well, pretty well for Dean and company. And if they had, we got trouble, I think, for Robert. Oh, is it maybe a pit penalty for him since he's hit pit road? I don't think it's scheduled. I don't see any smoke coming out the car. That's going to really hurt, though. I was just talking about the lap times being so good. That's going to turn that 3-car draft into a 2-car draft. Again, don't know the reasoning, but it's possibly an unsafe pit exit. I'm not sure, but it looks like he just drove through pit road here, so I'm honestly not sure. Maybe that's the penalty for an unsafe pit exit or something like that. Is maybe just a drive-through. I'm truthfully not 100% sure, but what I can tell you, though, is that lap, Dean and Eric were actually quicker. It was a 50.66 to a 50.93. I have a feeling this lap here is going to tell us a completely different story, unfortunately, because let's say that's when they went from 3 cars to 2. So I'll give you that here in just a second. We mentioned again that 50.66. This time around it was 51.25. So they lost about almost half a second, basically, just with losing that one extra car. So that's a really, really tough pill to swallow for them because they were doing so well right there. And again, depending on if and when these guys pit, that could have been the difference. But while we've been talking about that, we're down to 4 to go here. So at some point, some of these guys have to pit, I think. I still think I like 3 of them. I like the 04, the 4, and the 25. I really don't think everybody else can make it because, again, they all pitted. I mean, Adam Kilday pitted on lap 45 compared to lap 48 for Kevin Freese, Mark Mann, and Rick Seabrand. So, I mean, that's 3 whole laps. If he can make it, that's wild. I mean, here you go. I think that car was sputtering. He's had to jump off. And, yeah, he's bringing a bunch with him. As I said, that contact with him and Jack Walls. It's going to get Jack way too hot on entry there. Yeah, and that's unfortunate for Jack. Nothing he did wrong there. Just unfortunate. I think there was so much going on with the fuel issues that just, yeah, that's a really tough one. So now we're getting back into that race within a race. So the second place car, the third place car, and the sixth place car in line, can they make it on field? These are the only leaders right now in this front pack here. So, like I said, the question mark is going to be who makes the move first or who can even make the move first. So, yeah, and of course, also we'll see how Dean and Eric Laurie how they are able to recover, which right now I'm going to say actually really well because there goes Tom Dixon. He's on pit road. But here they go. They're starting to pass some of these guys that had just left pit road. So for Dean and Eric, I'm going to still call this a net gain because they easily could have lost the draft here. But they did such a good job with them as well as with Robert Hooligan. Honestly, if they still had him those couple laps, they may have been able to break the draft of these guys. So big, great, big props to those guys for everything they did. So, but now let's jump back up front here because we've got 2 to go. Right now, again, Mark Mann's our leader in the 04 car. The second car in line, Kevin Freese, the Kellogg's car, is second place. And then third place is that number 4 Yeti car, the blue and white. That's going to be third, and you see him peeking to the outside there of Andrew Schroeder. So, again, we'll see if these guys can make it. At this point, I'm going to say they're going to run this thing until it runs dry. There goes the pushers. So now our top 3 in line are the top 3 for the race, and they've got about a lap of a margin on these. I say half lap margin on the field. So again, they can probably sputter and get away with it. So again, now it's just going to be about who has the fuel, who can make the right move at the right time. But as it stands, without any craziness here, it will be one of these 3 winning the race, and likely these 3 being our podium finishers here tonight as well. Oh, there goes Rick Seabrands. He's going to jump to the top. Will he bring help? Yes, he is. Bob Fitzgerald's going to jump up there with him. Can those 2 make a charge here? Bob has no fuel issues because he did pit. So this could, I say again, we talk about lap cars playing a role in this one. Bob Fitzgerald could help Rick Seabrands win this race. Again, we just got to see who's got the fuel at the end. Right now, Rick's got a little bit of a momentum going, but Mark Mann's still holding strong on the inside. And at the line, it will be Mark Mann winning in the 04. Rick Seabrands comes home second. Kevin Freese brings it home in third. But then we got to watch this battle here for the 4th position. Oh, we got trouble in the back there. Adam Kilday, Bud Steele, Jeremy Osborne, Dustin Logston all appeared to be involved. Unfortunately, that's going to take those guys out of the running for those top 5 positions. But right now on the inside, you've got Nathan Aldrich, Dean Wilkinson locked on together here. Again, this is right now still the battle for 4th. Look at Carl Lingle rolling the outside lane there. Oh, a little bit of contact to more cars. Oh, they're all going to get caught up on the outside line. That's going to allow Dean Wilkinson and Nathan Aldrich to fight for it. Nathan's going to grab that 4th spot. Dean getting the top 5. But it's going to be all these guys that are just coasting now to celebrate. Mark Mann, Rick Seabrands, Kevin Freese, top 3 finishers here at Talladega. So while we watch these guys coast to the finish, we'll pull up our final results for tonight, as it will be Mark Mann getting the win there over Rick Seabrands there by 0.04 of a second. Kevin Freese there in third, and then we just talked about that in the back. And say there's the pit stop difference there, 38 seconds for Nathan Aldrich and Dean Wilkinson. Then Carl Lingle, Eric Laurie, Ed DeBoer, Seth Groover going to be those that finish in that pack that had the contact at the end. And then Adam Kilday looks like the first of those able to recover from the incident on the back stretch there. And then unfortunately these guys all showing a lap or more down, including Dustin Logston, Bud Steele, Robert Hooligan, Jack Walls, Anthony English, Tom Dixon, Jeremy Osborne, and Bob Fitzgerald. And then continuing again down the order here, we still have a few more with Jim Brooks there, Andrew Schroeder, Gabe Butler, Jimmy Reynolds, Austin Call, Mike Grimkiss, and see some of those early retirements there as well, and then including Brian Wing and Patrick Gruber, unfortunately. I say, when you can't do a burnout, you're just going to go ahead and park it on that start-finish line. So that's about what you got. But what a job, though, by Mark, man, getting the win here. Again, talked about some of these guys that maybe don't run the full schedule, but when they do, you got to watch them, and especially when they got the stealthy Batmobile there. So great job to Mark. And let's go have some chats with these guys. We're going to kick it off with our third place finisher. So we're going to go and hunt some fellas down here. And we are going to begin with an Eric, sorry, not an Eric Laurie, a Kevin Freeze. I was looking at the drivers in the Discord, and Eric Laurie was one of those with him. So we will jump back to that white flag, and we'll pick up that number 25 Kellogg's machine of Kevin Freeze. So we'll grab Kevin on in over here, and sir, I didn't think there was any chance. Then the laps are clicking by you. Nobody's making their second to last stop. And then I see the three of you go as long as you do. And like, yeah, man, they can pull this off. And sure enough, I mean, yeah, I mean, that's saying you guys ran the numbers perfectly. And I mean, when you saw how that one went, where you went, I think it was to about 20, was it 27 to go, 28 to go? No, it was, I can't remember the exact number, but once you saw that number, was it we've got this as long as we don't mess up, or was it, okay, we've got to still be really aggressive to save, because obviously you didn't have those caution laps helping you on the first round?
Yeah, where the caution fell, yeah, that first one, I thought we had a chance of doing it, and then yeah, once it kept playing out, it was actually easier to save up front than the first stint. I was more towards the back, and it's just all the accordion effect. It's pretty hard to maximize your fuel savings, but luckily I was able to pull that off and not and then they were able to as well, because the final lap of both runs I went full throttle. I made it back to the pit. I think I ran out as I was pulling into my pit stall on the first run. So I knew I had to be pretty smart on the second run, just to make sure I had a little extra, and I finished with 0.2 gallons. So that was better than I expected. I do hate fuel racing because it's not fun, but unfortunately, those are the cards we were dealt tonight.
Yeah, I mean, it's one thing though when it's off the kick, but I say when it's a natural, I mean, that's just part of it. You never know how it's gonna fall,
Yeah.
And I mean, I'll say selfishly for me, on just maybe not super speedway side of things, like I feel like those are my only chances of winning races, like at the normal like cookie cutter track. So it's like I like fuel strategy because I feel like that's where my opportunities are. But so then you get to the towards the end there. You've got Mark, you've got Rick. I mean, was this something you're expecting to maybe have a chance to work with any of them, or were you thinking no, they're gonna both basically my best chance is to try to keep basically to kind of push one of them behind?
I was trying to keep them separate, and then once who was the final car? I think Anthony was in front
Bob.
of them.
Oh, you mean before
Bob
the pit stops?
In front of us.
Yeah, it was
think
English. Yeah.
And once I saw him peel off, I knew I had to go right onto Mark's bumper, try and push away. But it's just that little bit of a bubble in these cars, and I knew once I saw the separation that they had behind us, I knew they were going to have a massive run like they did. And then I was telling Mark to block it, trying to encourage chaos. But yeah, no, I race with those guys in another league, and it's always a lot of fun to go against them. And happy to see them over here, and they did a great job there.
Yeah, no, it was a lot of fun. Like I said, yeah, and that's what I mentioned was like, there's some guys that maybe I think there's like maybe one or two new guys, but yeah, and then we got some of the guys that kind of run when they can. And the thing is, when they're here, like you gotta kind of focus on them too, because they kind of, I want to say sneak under the radar, but it's like, oh yeah, they're not the usual Area 51 guys that are week in week out kind of a thing. But again, like you said, you know them from on like the OP side. It's like we know what they can do, and so it's, yeah, you kind of can't get caught sleeping with them.
Yeah, and once I saw that it was going to come down to fuel race, I knew they were going to be a factor. There was no way that they weren't. Uh, so it was a ton of fun, but it was just going to be a game of chicken. Who had a bigger run there at the end, and they were going to win it. And hats off to Rick there for getting that big run and the win.
All right, sir. Well, before we let you go, as always, definitely want to give you the floor for any thanks and shout outs for that podium, sir.
Yeah, thanks to you for putting on the broadcast. Thanks to all the drivers for coming out tonight. I know some people had some pretty terrible luck there with there was one wreck that yellow didn't come out, so it I don't think it affected the whole pack, but those two, I think it was Austin and Gabe, got caught up in that, and
Yeah.
that was unfortunate for them. And then a huge shout out to Dustin because he could have wiped out the field the one time.
That
And
save.
he had a heck of a save because these tires were cooked, and he managed to hold on to it. So huge shout out to him, and shout out to Mark for getting that win there.
Yeah, no, and I was able to catch that save, and I said the exact same thing. I mean, if he catches it too much one way, the car is going to spin to the inside and probably drift up. If if it hooks back to the right, a bunch of guys are getting involved. I mean, he had it saved perfectly, right? The exact balance he needed to do. So yeah, so I was the same way. I was like, I don't know how Dustin saved that, but yeah, that was a hell of a job by him.
Heck of a catch.
But man, Kevin, as always, man, it's always a pleasure having you over here. And yeah, great result. Like I said, not your preferred way to get podiums, but so you find many ways to get good results, man. So great job tonight.
Thank you.
All right, we're going to jump a little further back again and pick up that number 4 machine. That is going to be this fella here in the Yeti Coolers Chevrolet Camaro, and that is Mr. Rick Seabrands. And Rick, I told Kevin to say we don't see you guys all the time here at Area 51, but it's one of those things we can't get caught sleeping on you guys because you're good at what you do. And say it's when it's like, oh, I don't recognize that name. It's like, well, you're gonna probably find out about it pretty soon.
I'm just happy that you guys put on such great shows that let us come over and moonlight when we can, man. I love racing with you guys when we can. I've been with Area 51 off and on for quite a while, just doing a race here and there, man. And you guys always do it right, man. I'm a big fan of Bud Steele, all the guys over here that put these races on. It's fun to come out here and race with you guys.
Yes, and your crash test dummy doesn't look like he's too worse for wear after tonight, so you didn't have to abuse him too much. So he might be good for another race too, it looks like.
Yeah, we should be good to go.
So I wasn't sure who was wearing the Discords and all that. When I was doing the results, I was showing you and Mark as being on the same team on the results there. So was that something when that caution comes out towards the end, or not towards the end, but towards the pit stop cycle, are you and Mark immediately in talks like, hey, we can probably make this fuel number work? And then it's like, do you think anybody else is on the strategy? Because it winds up just being you, Mark, and Kevin. I mean, how does the strategy go there for the three of you, or I guess the two of you in this case?
Well, I started saving probably almost right away when we started that last green flag run there, and it was just barely enough. And I think Mark started saving a little bit after that, and so he was a little bit closer than we were. And I actually thought, I knew Kevin would be all right. I kind of thought Gabe and Eric would be all right too. I was surprised to see them go when they did. But yeah, that was it's kind of funny how that works out like that. We're kind of playing for that stuff, but usually it just don't work out like that. And then when I see Kevin made it too, I knew we was going to be a battle between us three. And yeah, he's always in the mix there too.
Yeah, he says he doesn't like fuel mileage races, then he brings it home in third. So it's
yeah, I don't know why he doesn't, because he's really good at all those types of races. So I mean, I guess when it's just that easy for you, it's just not as fun, right?
Right. It's like, oh yeah, I've been there, done that. But
yeah.
But then so you get the big run there through two. So you see Bob locked onto your bumper there. Is that one of those like, okay, let's see how much I can get and just hope that maybe one of them sputters? Or I mean, what's the thought process there?
It was an absolute shot in the dark. I knew coming back that if Kevin pulled out, I was probably just going to stay with Mark, and I think Kevin probably knew that anyways. So I saw Bob kind of getting a run, so I was like, you know what, maybe I could give Mark a run for his money. And we just couldn't get hooked up as well as Kevin and Mark did. They did a terrific job coming back to the checkers. Kevin's already hard enough to outpush in these things. So, super happy to come home second, give it a look. And yeah, that was fun for our first race over here in quite a while.
Yeah, no, it was great having you. Like I said, it's always fun having you guys over here. I said I'm doing the same. Like I want to try to get out over there with you guys and race as well when I have some free
man.
evenings.
We love having you guys over there.
It's a lot of fun. It's like and that's the thing is like we between the two leagues we've got a lot of crossover, and it's a bunch of great people, and that's what I enjoy. Exactly.
A lot of respectability. It's a good time for sure.
Well, before we let you get back to your team, though, sir, as always, definitely want to give you the floor for any thanks and shouts for that runner-up tonight.
Absolutely. Thank you guys for putting this race on. Letting us come over here and moonlight. You guys for putting the broadcast on. All the fans at home there watching. And congrats to Mark on the win.
All right, sir. Great job tonight. Look forward to seeing you again soon, man.
All right. Thanks, man.
All right. That is our runner-up, which leaves us with this fella here. And that is going to be the Batmobile man of Mark, man. And Mark, I'll say, I feel like every time I say you've always got something. And this one's a very subtle painting. I can see there's little details in that one that you can just make out. And I'm all for it. I'm loving it, man.
I don't focus on my paint schemes much at all.
Well, it looks stealthy, I got to say.
Thanks.
So I was talking to Rick, and so it sounds like he started fuel saving a little bit before you kind of decided, okay, this is the way we got to definitely try to make this happen. How much stress did that add to you then?
I was bugging out. There was like 15 laps to go. I was like, man, I'm 2 laps. I need to save 2 laps. I don't think I'm going to do it. And then I was worried that everybody in front of me was going to have to pit. And thankfully, they didn't do that until the white flag lap. And I think I was 0.1 laps to the good. And as soon as I crossed the line and hit turn 1, I was out of fuel. So it was right on the cusp. But if I didn't save 15 laps on that run, I would have never made it. So just got lucky. And everybody was saying, oh, I can make it. And I'm like, oh my gosh. It's almost like being the kid, everybody who says they have candy and you don't.
Well, as I say, it was just exactly how you drew it up is how it all wound up. But and I mean, you make a good point too, because the other thing I was noticing was you were kind of one of the first cars up front that was on that strategy, so you didn't really have as many cars maybe to save off of, especially because the three of you had a really good pit stop as well, where it took probably half a lap or more to get someone to even jump in front of you. So the whole time I'm watching this, it's like, man, they're probably having to go foot to the floor just to make sure that they don't drop the pace too much. So like all those little things, like you said, I mean, it's burning fuel. And then, like I said, that's just making you have to save even extra to try to pull it off there to the end. But yeah, I mean, that's a hell of a job.
There was even that big checkup where somebody got on the apron.
And
had to get back in the gas. And I'm like, oh no, I'm not going to be able to make it. But I was thinking of Matty Wagner, who just hopped in here, and Matt would have said, save Kiwasabi. So I saved.
Nah, so yeah, you did it perfect. And that's also where you're like, man, I wish this was Daytona, because then you're sweating through that tri-oval, I'm guessing, too.
Right. Oh, yeah, exactly. It was a fun race overall. And I enjoyed coming over here at Area 51. I appreciate being invited into the series, where I'll probably just race part-time. We're in our deer hunting season here in upstate New York, and I kind of concentrate on that in the fall. So I make as many races as I can.
Well, I'll say, I mean, it's always a pleasure to have you on these things. And so the one thing I didn't have a chance to ask the other guys, I want to ask you, track temperature tonight was 130. Oof. Did the car feel different than what you were used to with maybe like when we've run the cooler track temps? I mean, did anything stand out more to you on that one?
Oh yeah, it was a total factor. I mean, you could see guys getting loose in front of you. I mean, you could see people sawing on the wheel. So that kind of motivates you going into the turn to really pay extra attention going in there, and any sort of feeling that the car was getting loose, just do a micro correction. So I was really focused on that, because I did see a lot of people losing it there, and I thought I didn't want to be one of them. So one of the victims of my own and the track temp. I mean, I was loose a few times from the track temp. So yeah, it definitely played a factor. It was actually fun. I like that dynamic.
Well, I say you made the. I say you were able to nail the handling, able to nail the fuel. So you got it all tonight, man. So big congrats on the win. But before we let you go celebrate, as always, definitely want to give you the floor for any thanks and shouts for that win this evening.
Yeah, man. Hey, thanks for broadcasting. Awesome broadcast and Area 51 and the invite. Much appreciated. And all the guys I ran with tonight. And I appreciate special thanks to Kevin for giving me that push there at the end. He didn't really have to. He could have stepped out on me there, but I appreciate it. I told him I just kind of log into these things to chit chat with friends and race 100 races and I might get a win. So here's one of my one. I got to race 99 more to get another win. So shout out to everybody watching at home.
I say careful, you might get Matt to chime in on that one. So he gets a little
Matty
sensitive about
Wags.
the wins.
Man. Oh yeah. Oh boy.
But no, great job though, Mark. I said it's always nice to have you in these. So when you can, I say we would love to have you. So go enjoy this one and look forward to seeing more of you over the season, man.
Well, the time change is coming next week.
Oh yeah, that's
it'll
right.
be dark super early, and usually that's when a lot, even me. I mean, I'll probably race more than I did probably in the summer. I know I said it's deer hunting season, but the truth of the matter is that you get in and you're home for several hours and it's still dark. So I'll probably be racing as much as possible.
Well,
it's a good nightcap.
That's a good way to finish off I was saying it's a good way to kind of kick off your Friday too. You go race, have some fun, and then let's say you got the last day of the week. So
absolutely,
hell of a job though today, Mark. I say it's always fun watching you guys, and yeah, look forward to seeing more of you on the track if we can.
Appreciate it.
All right, that is our race winner, Mark, man. And I say Rick Seabrands, Kevin Freeze, able to sip the fuel the best of everybody and able to bring it home tonight, 1, 2, 3 at Talladega. And so again, we mentioned next week will be an off week as it will be Halloween. So either get candy, give candy, or somewhere in between, I guess. But yeah, as always, definitely hope you all have a very happy and safe Halloween. We will, however, still be back on Sunday night for the Superspeedway Gen 4 series. And if I'm not mistaken, I think we're back to racetrack number 1, which should be Daytona. I'm going to tell you right now. That way there's no question marks. And indeed we are. So we will be back at Daytona on Sunday night. And then, like I said, we'll have a week off here and then back on Sunday night on November 2nd. So as always, thank you all so much for watching, for supporting us here at Green White Checker TV. Big shout out to all the 26 drivers that took green tonight with us. It's always blast having all the names and faces, and appreciate everybody being a part of it. So until next time, as always, take care, stay safe, have a good night, and we'll see you all on Sunday.